The Tabourida, or gunpowder game, is one of the most popular festivals in Morocco. The equestrian competition is a reenactment of a 2,000-year-old wartime technique used by the Berber warriors. The spectacular cavalry charge has been carried out exclusively by men. Until now. Today, women are challenging traditional boundaries by taking part in the Fantasia festivals.
I feel very strong when I ride a horse. In daily life, I feel completely normal, just like any other woman. But as a woman participating in a Fantasia, despite the difficulties we have as a women's team, you just feel strong.
Afra Benbi heads an all-female riding troupe. It's one of only 13 female teams in the country, which has more than 5,000 men's groups. The women are rehearsing for an upcoming Fantasia. They will be the only women's team among 46 at the event. What the equestrians have to focus on in this sport is not just the interaction of the horses, riders, and their movements, but the rifles, too. Afra's team is not yet properly synchronized. Some of the women are riding with the group for the first time.
When I say sit, you can't do your hair. The horses have to be in line now. You just did it. Look, sit, then the rifle, then the greeting.
Afra wants her riders to be especially well prepared for the upcoming Fantasia. The young women want to prove that they can perform the Tabourida just as well as the men.
The biggest challenge is just being accepted. There are people who don't want women to participate. They think that girls ought to stay at home and take care of household chores instead of riding horses, because that's a man's thing. But that's not true. On the contrary, the Prophet even recommended riding. He said, teach your children. He did not say teach the boys, he said children, both boys and girls.
Afra's mother, Touria Ben Shiheb, often accompanies her daughter to training sessions and competitions. Support from her family is very important for 25-year-old Afra.
I won't lie. At first, I didn't like the sport at all. In the past, it wouldn't have been possible either. Women used to be frustrated. They didn't have many rights. There were many things women weren't allowed to do. They were supposed to be satisfied with having children and doing the housework. And that was all they could do.
Afra learned to ride from her father, Abdelmejid Benbi. In Morocco, it's traditional to pass on the art of Fantasia riding from generation to generation. Afra's father himself still rides in a troupe.
Afra went to Fantasias with me when she was a little child. She wanted to ride, and so I put her on a horse, and she rode 400 meters. And then she wanted to ride on her own. She's been addicted to it ever since.
She rode as a child?
Yes, and later she became a troop leader. She found other women and then got a hold of a tent. One day I told her that this hobby is not a good idea, but she said it was my fault. So what could I do? I can't stop her anymore.
Meanwhile, he's grown proud of his daughter's achievements.
Nowadays, you often see women riding in a fantasia. Recently, I got a call from an organizer in a small village. He wanted Afra to participate with her troupe. At first, the visitors found it very strange to see women riding. But now that's changed. In fact, people are often more interested in watching when a women's team is riding.
Rabat, the Moroccan capital. The bazaar in the old town is a visible reflection of the country today, a mixture of modern vibrancy and traditionalism. Afra and her friend Shema El Aouni belong to a new generation of emancipated Moroccan women. "2004 saw a fundamental boost to women's rights when the Code of Family Laws, the Mudawana, was reformed. Since then, the country has been experiencing an era of social change. The new laws strengthened equality in marriage and liberated women from their husband's legal authority. In the same year, a Fantasia festival accepted the first all-female team. Sana El Moustache has been part of Afra's team for more than 5 years and is one of her closest friends. Unlike Afra, the 25-year-old does not enjoy the support of her parents. No one in her family has ever owned or ridden a horse. Sana found her way to this sport not through family traditions, but thanks to Afra.
I'm now on my way from Rabat to Sidi Qasim to meet Afra. We're meeting up in order to prepare everything for the upcoming Fantasia. It requires a lot of effort to keep traveling back and forth to avoid being told off by my family because of my hobby. When I first started riding, I kept it a secret. I would go to training after school, but I'd tell my parents I had classes. It was only once I felt confident on the horse and knew how to ride that I told them about it. It was really hard for them to accept. But they've started to get used to the idea a little because they realize how much I love horses and the Fantasia.
After Sana arrives in Sidi Qasim, the place where Afra grew up, the two pay a visit to a local tailor. Badia Ben Brahim makes their traditional costumes for the upcoming Fantasia.
Look, this is your outfit. Something very special.
I love it. The pants shouldn't be too tight so I can get on the horse easily. How long will it take?
It'll be ready soon.
I have a lot of outfits. This is what I plan to wear on the first day of Fantasia. But I have many other outfits. Before each Fantasia, I go to the tailor and have a new costume made. One that people have never seen me wear. That's very important for me.
The costumes are called djellabas, long, opulent robes with hoods that are traditionally worn in the Maghreb region of northern Africa. Historically, these garments were made for nobility. Only later did the djellaba become popular clothing for the general public. And it took time for it to become acceptable attire for women as well.
Thank God Moroccan women have come a long way and reached levels that we wanted them to reach. That Moroccan women can now ride horses in this traditional outfit is truly a source of pride for our country.
Pray for us. Call me once everything's ready.
Afra's family run a farm a few kilometers outside Rabat. It's also a place where she and her fellow riders can meet up without being disturbed. It's a welcome retreat for the new team. Afra founded her first troop in 2012, called the New Era Horsewomen's Association. It also served to bring together like-minded women.
A few years ago, I formed a team and trained young women from my town for fantasias. Then one after another, the women got married. The group became smaller and things changed. It was really hard because most of the men would not allow their wives to ride anymore. Via Facebook and Instagram, I found other women and built my current team. When there's a fantasia coming up, I call them and they say yes.
We'll soon find out whether Afra's new team is ready for the big show. In a few hours, the women will be setting off for the Fantasia. For Sana, however, the dream could be over. She's had a cold for a few days now and feels weak and tired.
If I can't be in the show, at least I could be your nurse. If any of you need bandages, or water, or flowers even.
I hope no one falls off.
Don't jinx us.
Will Sana be able to ride? The more women who take part, the more impressive their performance.
Girls, we have a lot of things to do today. Everyone is responsible for one task. First, the horses need to be fed and washed. I'll pick up the tent.
Shema and Ilham Msada already knew Afra when they met 3 years ago. They both grew up with a passion for horses and the Fantasia sport. But neither of them can afford to own a horse. The Berber breeds that are used in the Fantasia do not come cheap in Morocco.
Horses are my life. I just feel good in their company, like a child in its relationship with its mother.
There are many problems and situations in life that make me stressed. But as soon as I see a horse or touch one, I calm down quickly. I no longer feel stressed or think about bad things. It's great.
Berber horses have served humans for more than 4,000 years and are one of the oldest breeds of the animal. These horses have always been closely linked to the Berber tribes who bred them. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, they were used as war horses. In the meantime, more members of the team have arrived at the farm. And they're ready for the trip to the Fantasia.
A lot of people don't want us to participate. They try to stop us. For them, a woman is not supposed to be in a riding arena.
Society is changing. But since we started riding, it hasn't changed enough. There are always people who criticize us. Some women have given female riding a bad reputation through their actions. We would like to change that, especially since we are a new team. We want to make a good impression so that society accepts us and women's riding becomes a normal thing.
Afra goes to a lot of trouble for her hobby. It's only with the help of her parents and her job in the family's construction company that she can afford to finance the sport for herself and other women.
Look at that horse. He's happy. I think he feels just like we do. Look at his ears.
After an hour's drive, the women arrive at the festival grounds in Medjuna, close to Casablanca.
Okay.
The preparations for the equestrian extravaganza are in full swing. Less than 24 hours from now, the women will be saddled up and ready to ride.
Hi, how are you? Was your journey okay? You can go into the tent now. We have to move the hay. Shema, if you still have your shoes on, bring the saddle into the tent. You can put it in the kitchen. Does everyone know which gun is theirs? It's important. Anybody got a pen? Then we can write the names on it. This one is definitely yours. What shall I write? Okay. Like the other team captains, I have a lot of work to do. I need to make sure everything is set up, from the horses to the guns and our outfits. The other women just have to come to my place, get to the festival, and everything is basically ready. As a woman, you have to work hard to get recognition. You have to be strong, patient, and courageous. And I don't let what people say bother me.
In Medjuna, this is the first year a women's team is competing. Radona Hali has been organizing this fantasia for many years now. He ensures that the event goes smoothly.
I myself have 2 daughters, and I ride with them. When they were between 6 and 10 years old, they were already riding fantasias with me. Once, we were even invited to France. Many leaders teach their daughters to ride. They do it because they love their daughters. It's now the time for female groups to join us. There are 35,000 men and only 700 women in this sport. It's much harder for women. They need the support of a father or brother. Only then can they make it. If this support is missing, it's still very difficult for women today.
Before the event begins, all the team leaders meet to set the rules for the various runs. This is not new for Afra, but she doesn't know anyone here. And for most of the men, female riders are still an unaccustomed sight at the Fantasia.
I welcome Sister Afra's participation. I can imagine that it's not easy for a woman to attend. But I consider it an honor for the other competitors in the Fantasia and for our whole country. So I want to congratulate and thank her.
I'm very proud to be the only woman among 40 male leaders. They respect and appreciate me, and that makes me feel good.
Meanwhile, the traditional handmade saddles are being prepared in the women's tent. Musa Alabda is the troop's trainer. He has years of experience and insights to pass on to the young women.
Women can also prepare the saddles, but a man comes in handy for making the knots on the saddle really tight. If the knots are too loose, the saddle will slip off the horse. Women don't have quite enough strength for it. That's why Musa's help is so important.
Afra considers herself lucky to have Musa as a coach for the team. In addition to being a good riding instructor, he also provides moral support.
We're happy for them. We are all equal. Allah said that you should teach your children to ride. He didn't make a distinction between boys and girls. If the girls are happy, then we're all the more motivated to support them.
We love competition, just like the men do.
We fought our way into their world to learn from them.
We're all equal.
Then we'll do it all on our own.
This proves that Moroccan women are strong.
At the festival site, the horses have been fed and watered and are now able to settle down for the night. After sundown, Afra's mother and sister arrive. They'll be spending the next 2 days in the team's tent. It's important for the families that the women do not spend the nights alone.
I help Afra because I want her to achieve what I couldn't, because I see potential in her. I grew up in a different time, but I'm sure that times will change for the better. Every day, something new happens. So I hope Afra can develop and move forward.
After a short night, the first morning prayer begins in the neighboring tent. The Fantasia evokes memories of times and legends past. What might seem to outsiders like a tale from the Arabian Nights is a living tradition for Moroccans. To showcase that, not only the uniforms and saddles, but also the weapons for the event are all custom-made by hand. The first visitors arrive in Majuna early in the day to get a good spot. Today, Fantasias are among the biggest public festivals in Morocco. The spectacles attract thousands of spectators. To ensure that everyone has the chance to attend, Fantasias are not held on religious holidays.
Everyone comes here to have a good time. We eat and drink and ride. The visitors are here to have fun, just like the riders. Think of soccer. Riding is like an addiction. And if we can't ride, it's like soccer, where fans have to go to a match every Saturday. It's the same thing. Actually, it's even worse.
In Afra's team, there's a last-minute change. Out of concern that not all the women would be able to take part, she organized a substitute rider at short notice. The rules require every team to have at least 6 riders on the course. That's why 14-year-old Malak Yafari and her father have traveled here in the early hours of the morning to join the group.
My daughter's horse is here, complete with saddle, so my daughter can ride with you. As soon as she's finished, I'll pick her up and we'll go back home.
That's great. She's welcome here.
We'll see if everything works out. Don't let me get in your way.
She's part of our team now.
She's well behaved and will listen to you.
They're all good girls. Don't worry.
So, you can start your training. Malak's gun is here too.
Good. His saddle's ready too.
Okay, good luck.
Malak is young and very talented, and could be a real asset to Afra's team. Up to now, she was only able to train with the other women during rehearsals. Malak is used to working with horses, but she has not really learned how to handle the rifle. A task not made easier by the weapon weighing 5 kilograms.
The important thing is to shoot in sync. If you're uncertain, don't shoot at all. Otherwise, it'll mess things up and the spectators will notice. I'll show you how it's done.
Not everyone in the team is happy about the last-minute change. The new composition of the group is causing resentment. The place on Afra's left is particularly coveted. Traditionally, the woman occupying it is the number 2 in the team's ranking.
I told you yesterday I would ride on your left. Now what?
I'm not giving you the place because last time you stretched your arms out way too far. I don't want to hear this. You said you'd stop doing it.
Afra, I was just saying.
Don't be angry, all good. You'll ride next to me tomorrow and Ilham can today. Please don't be mad. I want you to be happy. We are here to have fun, not to argue about places. I'm not interested in that.
After everyone has calmed down, the focus is back on the all-important weapons training. After all, the entire performance ultimately depends on the synchronized firing of the rifles.
Ready? One last time.
The dry run went well. Now the team have to prove themselves in the saddle.
Arguments are not only a problem in women's teams. Men's teams argue as well. Usually it's just a little misunderstanding. We're all sisters, so we resolve everything pretty quickly. We can't ride together if we're upset with each other. We have to make peace first. We need to all get along well.
The team are getting nervous. Sana is too sick to ride. That would mean one less rider on the field. Fortunately, Malik can take her place. Putting on the costumes is always time-consuming. The way the jalabas are worn and the scarves are wrapped is something of an art. So everyone pitches in, including the riders' families, who are excited about the upcoming performance.
My daughter is taking part too. It's a big step forward for the country. It's advancing women in Morocco.
It does show how Moroccan women are now equal to men. We've put off our holiday just to help the girls with the event. And I wish them the best of luck.
أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Before you get on a horse, it's important to recite the Al-Fatiha because you have to be at peace with yourself. And by praying, you respect the horse. You can't ride without having that peace. We don't know whether we will survive or not. A lot of people have died in this sport. With prayer, we make peace with one another.
ومسامحة مع كل شيء. آمين آمين يا رب.
Each equestrian team prepares for the upcoming performance in their own way. The women are eager to show that they too can master the rituals like their fathers and grandfathers before them. For Moroccans, the main point of the Fantasia is the spectacle. For the around 500 riders, it's not primarily about victory, but about taking part, and above all, about honor. For a few hours, the horses and riders bring the spirit and skill of Berber warriors back to life. Before Afra's team starts, they have to register.
Name? Surname?
Are we next?
You're number 20. There are 7 teams ahead of you.
7? Okay. Do we have to stand in line? Normally we don't have to wait.
The tension in the team is rising. This competition is important for the young women. Will they be accepted by the spectators? Musa is giving final instructions. In a few minutes, the team will have to prove that their training sessions paid off. The Fantasia has officially begun. The goal is to slowly bring the horses up to speed and then start the attack. In full gallop, the riders seize their weapons with both hands and fire them all at the same time on the leader's order, just as their ancestors did in battle. The art lies in producing a sound like a single burst of cannon fire. That's the highlight of each run. It's why the Fantasia is also known as the gunpowder game. But not all the teams managed to perform the feat. Now, Afra and her team have to prove that they are very much contenders.
Before we start, we're a little stressed. Riding can be dangerous, and we didn't get to train all that well. But once you get on the horse, you really have a feeling of power. You feel you can do anything, and God gives you that power. You feel like a warrior.
I'm excited.
You mean us?
Look, take your guns, do the job, and keep cool.
Even though it wasn't quite perfect, Afra's team have proved themselves. The audience in Majuna is delighted with the performance of the first female team at their festival. And the women can be more proud of themselves.
We get a lot of applause when there are a lot of women watching. They make so-called you-yous. We hear them shouting bravo, especially when we manage to shoot in sync. They're really happy, and they give us encouragement. It also gives me strength because I have a place and a task in society. It's not something everyone can do, but I've done it.
By participating with men, Afra is helping to change our society. The role she is playing may not be unique, but it's still quite rare, especially in our hometown. The people there know and respect her and appreciate that she, a young woman, can keep up with the men. She's made a great contribution to our town.
A few days after the big event, the team share their adventure with the wider world.
Check out the new comments on our Facebook page. I'll reset the site so you can access it too. Then you can upload pictures too.
Haven't you added the new pictures yet?
I'll do it right away.
We're going through the pictures from the Fantasia to see how we look and decide which ones to upload to Facebook.
We now have 140,000 followers. People comment on our pictures, and we keep them up to date on when the next Fantasia will take place. The response is really great. Let me show you the message I prepared.
Look at this picture.
I want that one too.
I'll send you all the pictures in the next few days.
That's me.
Put this on our site and write a comment. I'd like it too.
Morocco's laws have opened up new opportunities for women. Afra has embraced them, together with her young troupe and with the support of her family and friends, men and women alike. The young women are not interested in fighting a political battle, but they consider it self-evident that women should be recognized in society and have self-determination in their lives now and in the future.
Look at the beautiful view. Do you think the fishermen will get a good catch?
Sure.
And the sunset.
The sunset, the ocean, pizza, and us.
I wish that Fantasia will continue, and God willing that I will get married and have children. I hope my daughter will ride and participate in Fantasias, and just like my mother helped me, I will help her to achieve everything she wants.
إن شاء الله.